Today, we're going to talk about how to scale from 7 to 8 figures. Now, in case you're wondering why I am the right guy to talk about this, we've generated over $30 million with our online businesses. We've also cash collected over $100,000 in a single day, as you can see here. And collectively, with all of my offers, we've cash collected, not revenue sold, not contract value, over $1 million in a single month. So after doing multiple 8 figures online, I'm going to break down everything that we've learned. And also, I don't give a fuck about fancy camera equipment. I'm just going to start doing Loom videos for you guys and add a shit ton of value. That's going to be the goal. That's going to be the focus. And also, there's a lot of content on the internet showing you how to get to 10K a month, 100K a month. Some people do talk about 8 figures, but very, very few. And moving forward, I'm going to create a shit ton of content all about how to go from 7 to 8 figures. I feel like there's a huge gap in the marketplace. And just to be honest with you guys, I'm tired of talking about how to get 10K a month, how to get to 100K a month. So now we're going to talk about how to go from 7 to 8 figures. With that in mind, let's dive in. Our goal for today is to give you our best 5 frameworks that we've learned on our journey from 7 to 8. And these are the exact same frameworks we've used, as I mentioned, to scale past $1 million per month cash collected. And we've also used these same frameworks to scale a brand new offer to over $500,000 per month in less than 6 months. In fact, after hitting $1 million per month way back in 2019, we were stuck not being able to hit it again until 2023. So I actually hit $1 million per month in 2019, and we didn't do it again until 2023. Literally took me 4 years to crack the code again on how to surpass that goal. And the reason why that's important is because some people get lucky. Some people hit it once and then they never do it again. Well, we hit it once and we couldn't figure it out. And after banging my head on the wall for 4 years, I finally cracked the code. So I feel like I really know what needed to happen in order to break through that plateau. So these are the five most important frameworks that gave us the path to do so. Now, again, warning, this is definitely more advanced content. This isn't some beginner shit. If that's you, don't watch this video. First things first, we transition to a bigger market and vehicle. Everyone says it's not how hard you row. What matters is the boat that you're in. And that is true, but it's extremely misunderstood. What does that actually mean? Well, you can scale horizontally. A lot of people say niche down, especially for beginners. But as you scale, you can do so horizontally. You don't just need to make the most out of your one niche. You can go into other niches as well. So, for example, instead of just being a chiro agency, you can transition to being a medical agency that works with physical therapists, chiros, med spas, dentists. And now your total addressable market goes way up. You see, most people are trying to get to 8 figures on hard mode by only focusing on a tiny demographic, a tiny niche, and trying to squeeze the living crap out of them and increase the LTV. But in reality, a lot of the times it's easier to just add additional niches and scale horizontally. There's some influencers out there that you probably know that are huge believers in scaling vertically. But one thing that I've learned in business is that it's not so black or white. You want to be able to scale vertically by increasing LTV, lowering churn, increasing retention rate, and having upsells for your current clients. But you can also scale horizontally. Don't be limited to scaling in one way. Here's another example. If you have a roofing agency, you can add solar and HVAC. For us, we were only running Agency Lab for a very long time, but we added other offers. We added other services. We brought in last year a done-for-you agency to supplement Agency Lab. So we scaled with other services. We scaled with other offers outside of the agency space. And this is what allowed us to crack through that plateau. Next up, vertical scaling. The key is to get more per client. So you can scale this way by adding more verticals, more services, more offers, but you can also scale this way by making more per individual client. For example, if you have a chiro agency running ads for chiropractors, you can offer SEO. And if your SEO costs $1,500 a month, then you get 10 clients to bite on that, let's say, or just one, for example, that's an extra $18,000 per year per client. So if you close 10 people on that and they retain for the year, that's an extra $180,000. So that's an example of vertical scaling, making more from the clients you already have. You can also do things like building out a back-end mastermind for $30,000. I, at one point, had over 200 active chiropractors as my clients, paying me anywhere between $1,500 to $2,500 per month. Now imagine if I offered a $30,000 mastermind to help them scale to multiple seven figures in the chiro niche, and I converted even 10 to 20% of those clients on that $30,000 product. That would have increased my profit margins like crazy and helped me scale. So that's another example. Here's another example. If you have a chiro agency for ads, you can partner with funding companies or merchant processing companies. And now let's say that you bring in a patient through your ads for their practice. If you're the merchant processor, and let's say you're partnering with someone and doing 50-50 with a merchant processing company and they take 3%, well, then 1.5% will go to you. So now you're making 1.5% from every patient that you bring them and every patient that enters their practice. If you offer funding and you say to the chiropractor, hey, we can actually finance your high ticket offers, we take 10%. And let's say you split that with an actual funding company. Now you take 5% of every high ticket transaction. And every time your chiro client is closing a patient, closing a deal, you're getting kickback. So this is an example of scaling vertically and making more out of every single client that you have. So let's move on to the next framework, changing the model. So what you could also do is have the same vertical, but a different business model. So here's an easy example to understand. Let's say you have an ice cream shop. You sell ice cream to just random people in the area. You can transition to selling ice cream of your brand to grocery stores. Here's another example. If you have a roofing agency where you're getting paid to bring leads, you can get into roofing mergers and acquisitions where you can get equity in roofing companies, grow them, roll them up, and exit them for way more money. So you're taking the same skills that you had in your roofing ad agency, but you're applying them to a much better model that has way more scale. One of the big lessons, guys, is the most important decision you'll ever make in business is not what skills you learn, but what you decide to focus on, where you decide to invest your time. So if you take the same skills of running a roofing company, and instead of getting paid $1,500 a month, you're getting paid way more by actually acquiring them, adding value, rolling them up, and exiting them. It's the same skill set, but one pays significantly more. So I'll give you guys a concrete example. I have a client who went through Agency Lab. He's also a good friend. He has a 7-figure HVAC marketing agency, but he also has a $50 million HVAC company at like a 10% profit margin. So the revenue that the agency brings is pretty damn similar to the profit, the take-home profit that his HVAC company generates. So same skill set, growing HVAC companies, but in one scenario, he's making way, way more. Other examples, if you have a med spa agency, instead of just selling lead gen to med spas where you're saying, hey, I'll help you with ads, generate new patients, you could actually sell medical devices to med spas. And now you could partner with medical device companies. Those medical devices sell for anywhere between $25,000 to $150,000. Let's say that you go 50-50 on that. Now your LTV goes from $2,500 a month to, let's say, $50K just by selling the device. And then now on top of that, you can offer advertising to help them generate patients for those medical devices that they just purchased from you. So again, similar skill set, but with one little tweak, you've changed the model and you've changed what you decide to spend your time on. which instead of being an ad agency, you're a medical device company that happens to offer ad services to help them scale, and now you make way more money. And again, guys, if this is too advanced for you, this is the wrong video for you. This is really good stuff if you're at the 7-figure mark looking to get to 8. Let's keep going. So next up, let's talk about the wealth or the size of the market. The question is, how can you take exactly what you're doing but offer it to a larger segment of the market or a higher net worth segment of the market? For example, I've never actually recommended anyone to start a real estate ad agency ever. Now imagine instead of going after a real estate agency, you go after real estate investors. Investors are looking to buy properties, potentially buy and hold properties, flip them. They have more capital, whereas real estate agents is more of a side hustle for a lot of people. A lot of real estate agents are wannabe entrepreneurs. They're not serious business owners, whereas investors have a lot more capital. They're more sophisticated, et cetera, et cetera. So agents are selling homes. Investors are either flipping homes or owning homes. They're going to make more money. Instead of going after chiropractors, you go after medical doctors or even hospitals. Imagine if you get a hospital as a client. You probably charge $20,000, $25,000 a month. That's like 10 chiro clients. I'll give you another example. Instead of helping high-ticket coaches, and most coaches are broke, you can have a growth agency for high-ticket coaches on BizOp offers and just partner with 2 or 3 offers that you could scale to 500,000 a month or even $1 million a month, and you take 50%. So if you help high ticket, there's actually a client inside of Agency Lab that was helping high ticket coaches, and they were helping any coach, and they could barely close $3,000 a month packages for ads. But I realized one of their clients that they did have was doing over $500,000 a month. It was a BizOp offer. So I said, why don't you just partner with 2 or 3 of these? You'll make way more. Now, instead of making $3,000 a month per client and having to close 100 of them, you can make $300,000 a month. And that's your cut. That's the 50% by helping one coach scale to $600,000 a month. So you're able to get the same output with 100x more efficiency. Another way that you guys can get to 8 figures is by having an exit or a liquidity event. Again, another way to simply play bigger is to build for exits and simply go for times in your career where you just get paid a big amount. So you can build an agency to 7 figures, maintain it for 2 to 3 years so that you're actually a good candidate to be bought out, and then exit. And you could just rinse and repeat. Then you build agency number 2 to 7 figures, maintain it for 2 to 3 years, and then exit, and then 3, so on and so forth. So one of the big things that I recommend for people is maybe you're not going to get to 8 figures on the actual business model itself, but on the exits, you will. So the problem is most people aren't thinking that next step, and then they don't build the exit and therefore never have that liquidity event.